2008 Honda Odyssey. Front brake pads, the rotors. I'm Brian Nussick from How to Automotive. I'm going to walk you through the steps of replacement. Okay, to get started, we're going to get the vehicle up in the air. If you're doing this at home, use floor jacks and jack stands and remove your front wheels. Okay, once you got your wheels off, now you're going to take the bolt here and here on the caliper off. And it's a 14 millimeter. So go ahead and crack those free. And there's a little spot back here that it possibly may spin, and you may have to put a wrench on here to back it up if it spins on you. If not, if you just go ahead and remove the bolts. After removing the top and bottom bolt, take the caliper off, and you can set it up on top of the suspension like this and rest it there for now. Now what we're going to do is on the back side is we're going to remove the 17 millimeter bolt here and here, and this bracket right here will come off. So the bolts turn out to be 19 millimeters. So after removing the two bolts, you'll take the bracket off and set aside. In a minute, we'll prep this and prepare it to go back on. Next, we're going to remove the rotor and replace it. This particular rotor has hot spots in it, if you can see those little spots on it. So so we're not going to machine these rotors, we're going to replace the rotors. So you're going to need an impact screwdriver to remove these rotors. They have these little set screws here. And so you're going to need a screwdriver that looks like this, and what you do is you insert it and you strike the end of it with a hammer, and it has a little mechanism inside the screwdriver that will spin the screw out. You pretty much won't get these out unless you have one of these. So I will be linking this up in the description of the video, that way if you guys don't have one, you can pick one up. I will also link the parts for the rotors and pads in the description of the video, that way if you need to pick those up, you can get those too. Okay, now that you got the set screws removed, a lot of times this rotor will be frozen onto the hub, and the way you get it off is to take a 8x125 bolt, and there's a couple holes that are threaded in the rotor. So you'll screw the bolt in like this, and you'll run this in, and that'll pop the rotor free. So now we're going to install our new replacement rotors, and a lot of times they come with oil on the rotors. That prevents them from rusting while they sit on the shelves. So what I recommend you do is take a can of brake clean and spray them off and wash the oil off, or you can use hot, warm, soapy water and wash that oil off. So you'll line up the set holes right here, and then slide the rotor on and go ahead and put those screws back in, and just screw them in until they're snug. So now we're going to prep the bracket. So we're going to remove the old pads and set those aside. And then my brake pads come with new hardware. If yours does not come with, your parts don't come with the hardware kit, then I recommend you use a wire brush and clean these out and clean these up really well. If not, if yours come with the hardware, I would definitely recommend that you change it out. So you'll just match it up with the one, install it, and they just press on with your fingers. After installing the new hardware, now what you're going to do is on the caliper slide pin bolts here, you're going to peel the boots back like this, and then you're going to pull the pins out like this. Then you're going to wipe off all the old grease. So you're going to wipe off all the old grease. Then you're going to take a little bit of what we use here at How to Automotive is Seal Glide. It's a specially designed brake grease that won't break down with heat and stuff. So I would take a thin layer of that and massage it all over the bolt, and then we'll slide the bolt back in, and then we'll work the bolt back and forth and get the grease inside the caliper bracket here. And you're going to do that for top and bottom, and make sure you get that grease. And then what you do is you push it all the way in until it seats, and that boot will pop back over the lip. And also, if this boot is torn up, or if it won't slide at all, or you're having problems, then you may have to replace this portion of the caliper bracket. Okay, now we're ready to reinstall this back over, but before we do, we're going to take the bolts that hold it on, and we're going to put a little bit of a blue thread locker on it. This is Permatex brand. That's the brand that we use here at How to Automotive. It's like a little glue that you put on the bolts, and it helps prevent the bolts from vibrating loose and backing back out, because they don't have lock washers. Once you get the bracket back on, you can go ahead and torque the two bolts back down to 101 foot-pounds each. So now I'm going to match up my inner and outer brake pads. So the inner pads have these little squealers, these little tabs right here, and as they wear down, this little portion of the squealer makes contact with the rotor, and it makes a squealing noise, so the driver's so we're going to install the outer pad first. And the way we do that is we take the pad and you put it at an angle like this, and you push it in kind of push it in towards the rotor like that, and then rotate it around and push it in. So it'll look like that. And you'll do the same thing for the inner pad. So now that the pads are installed, what I like to do is take a little bit of the Seal Glide grease and put a little dab on your finger and rub it onto the back of the shims, and this helps reduce squeaking. So I'll do that for the inner and outer shim, making sure you don't get anything on the surface of the pad. So now we're going to press the pistons back into the bores of the caliper, and we're also going to inspect and make sure that the boots aren't torn or there's no fluids leaking out of it. And if everything's good, what you're going to do is you're going to take one of your old pads and you put it in like this. Then you're going to use that's what they call a dual piston caliper tool. So it looks like this right here, and what you do is it hooks over the top, and kind of like a cocky gun, you'll squeeze the handle like that, and as you squeeze the handle, it pushes this portion of it out like that, and it'll push these pistons in. So you're gonna do that until the pistons are flush. But before we push the pistons in, what we're gonna do is lower the vehicle down and remove some of the brake fluid. And the reason why is when we push these pistons in, the brake fluid is going to go back up the line and into the master cylinder, and we don't want the master cylinder to overflow. So we're going to lower the car down and remove some from the master cylinder. So when you're done, the pistons will be fully seated like that. You can go ahead and remove the tool. And I will be linking the tool up in the description of the video. That way, if you need to pick that up, you can get that too. Now we're just going to take the caliper and reinstall it over the pads, but you want to make sure that this brake hose here is not twisted up when you put it on. And then right here on these little, you may have to push these in to help line everything up, top and bottom. Now we're going to reinstall the bolts that hold the calipers on. And we're also going to put the blue thread locker on that, made by Permatex. It's just for extra security that these bolts don't back off. And once you get these started, you can go ahead and run these in and torque them down to 37 foot. So after getting the top and bottom caliper bolts torqued down to 37 foot-pounds, you're going to duplicate the exact same process for the opposite side. After you're done with that, you're going to reinstall both of your wheels and torque them down to 76 foot-pounds. Lower the vehicle down, and then you're going to jump inside and you're going to pump the brake pedal 6 or 7 times. And what that's going to do is it's going to pump all the brake fluid that's in the master cylinder back into the caliper, and it's going to expand the pistons back out. And if you do it this way, you will not have to bleed the brakes, because we never open the system up. If you crack the bleeder screws open for any reason, you will have to bleed the brakes after you're done. But if you did it the way I did, where I just pushed the pistons in without opening the bleeder screws, you will not have to bleed the brakes after you're done. You just pump the pedal 6 or 7 times before you drive it, and that'll pump all the fluid back into the calipers. But as a disclaimer, I always recommend if the pedal feels funny to you, bleed the system. After we complete the job, we're going to top off the master cylinder with a .3 brake fluid. And that'll complete the job of replacing the front brake pads or replacing the rotors on a 2008 Honda Odyssey. I'm Brian Essek from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos. Encourage you to subscribe. Invite you to head over to the howtoautomotive.com website for more valuable videos like this, and also to remind you that I will be linking up all the tools and parts that I use in this video. And I'd like to thank you again for watching.